Imagine that you live in a world where people regularly just go psycho for no reason. We probably already live in that world. But imagine you live in a world where large groups of people just go psycho for no reason and attack each other. This is not the purge. And this is not, ironically, this is not a zombie apocalypse. It's literally just a moment in time where people just lose their crap for, several hours, and they can do anything that their heart has ever wanted to do, that their body has ever wanted to do, meaning assaults, battery, ending other people's lives, all that craziness, and it can just happen at any moment. And that's just life now. I feel like nowadays we done had pandemics, we've had aliens, we've had all types of crazy things that sound like conspiracy theories, but then they randomly come true. The government comes back a few decades later, like, yeah, our bad, we did that, and then we just move on with our lives. We just like, it's not gonna pay my bills, so now I go back to work. I just feel like that's how our world would react. This is the world that Mayhem from 2017 exist in. Now, this movie stars Steven Yeun and Samara Weaving. Steven Yeun, and I might pronounce his last name wrong, I've been really into the stuff that he's been making. I really like his acting. I watched Beef with him and Ali Wong, and it was really, really good. And so the more I've been seeing him, the more I've been excited. Like, okay, Steven, I see you in here doing your thing. I love it. I cannot for the life of me believe the numbers that I'm seeing online, that Mayhem was a box office flop, like that they barely made any money. Like, I mean, 2017, it was a different time. It was a different time. But this movie was out around the same time as Belko Experiment, and Belko Experiment made double the money that they spent making the movie. And it was trash. So I'm trying to understand who was responsible for not marketing Mayhem properly, because Mayhem was done way, way better than Belko Experiment. Way, way better. One, the movie starts with world building. It gives you background information so you understand what's going on. Belko Experiment literally just walks you into, hey, yeah, we in Colombia, kind of, sort of, now we in a building, boo, boo, boo. But Mayhem literally gives you an entire exposition in the beginning. Steven Yeun is Derek Cho, which is a lot easier for me to pronounce in the movie. But he walks you through two things. The first thing is that he walked into the corporate world bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as a lot of us do. And in order for him to succeed, he lost a lot of his life because he had to put everything into his job in order to succeed in this corporation, which happens to a lot of people. It's very relatable. But he eventually does succeed in getting a high-level position at the company, but he never sees his family, and he's very antisocial, and his whole life revolves around work. Very relatable. Two, he also introduces the concept in the world of the ID7 red-eyed virus, which makes people act out their darkest impulses. It's giving me like the sadness, but sadness came out way later than this. That makes people act out their darkest impulses. In one case was a guy named Neville Reed, who ended up killing, who did he kill? I don't remember, but I think that it was his boss. But he ends up killing someone, and it is Derek Cho's company, which is a law firm that helps find the loopholes to make it so that Neville Reed is not convicted of murder, because they argue that when you are affected by this virus, even though you're doing what you want to do, the part of you that would stop you from doing what you want to do is now inhibited, and therefore you cannot be held responsible for what it is that you do when you're infected by this virus. So Neville Reed walks. And Derek Cho is a part of helping their company find that loophole so that man can win and he can walk away. And it sets a precedent. So as more people get infected with this virus, more and more people will be able to get excused for any horrible things that they might do while they're under the influence of this virus. Now, on a social level, I'm pretty sure that the people around you are still going to be mad about all the stuff that you did. But from a legal perspective, you can literally get away with murder. And that is a precedent that Derek helps his company set. But the fact that Derek helped Neville Reed walk and helped him get away with murder is what gives him that status elevation that he had always been looking for. So it's one of those things where, he sacrificed his morals in order to get ahead in the company. These are all things that are very, very relatable to people who work in large corporations, whether it's a law firm, an insurance company, a bank, healthcare, wherever you work. If you work in a corporation, you know what it's like to have to compromise all of your morals and values in order to get ahead, because the people at the top only reward people who are willing to beat down on the little guy in order to succeed. They don't want people with good hearts at the top, because people with good hearts at the top would stop them from doing their nonsense. So that's how he earns his position. But he's not happy. And so he goes to meet with this client called Melanie Cross. This is Samara Weaving. And basically the issue is she is going to lose her house if they don't help her extend the terms on her loan and give her a little bit more time to pay everything off. He brushes it off can't really help you. He's phoning it in at this point. He doesn't care about anything. He's finally got the corner office that he wants, but nothing matters. Nothing's important. His family doesn't see him. So he's just kind of hollow inside. But then he finds out that there was this kerfuffle, this screw up that the company did. And he finds out from one of his coworkers that the people up top were looking to blame it on him and then fire him so that they can get away with, any type of liability on the company side. It happens all the time. Again, I relate to so much of this because I see stuff like this happen all the time. We see stuff like this ever since COVID. We've seen companies scapegoat their own people and lay off people in mass to make up for the failures that the executives did, that the shareholders did. They introduced the levels, right? They introduced who the chief human resources officer is. They introduced his superior, Kara Powell, who is called the Siren, and is a black woman, which I thought was interesting. Good to see her in that position, but also good to see that she may be a black woman, but she's in her position because she's willing to scapegoat the people below her in order to save her own butt. Again, that's how you get ahead in this company. But he finds out that that's what she's doing. He immediately acts on his impulse and he tries to go and confront her about it. And she's literally doing all that covert talk. And she's like, no, we're gonna blame you. We're gonna kick you out. And then we won't get in trouble for what we did. So he tries to take it all the way up to the top to the CEO, where he basically gets nowhere and he embarrasses himself and he makes the situation even worse. And they feel even better about scapegoating him because it's obvious that he's not willing to go down without a fight. So they're like, yeah, we're just going to set you up. And that way we keep making our millions and millions of dollars. And we just kick you out and we'll put somebody else in your position. Because even though he's gotten his high up office, his corner office, he's still a nobody to the people up top. And I relate to all of this. I relate to all of this so much. Because you could be as high as you think you are. You could be getting paid so much money. But at the end of the day, the CEO and the shareholders will throw you under the bus if it means saving their own skin. So the chief human resource officer comes in and he gives him a huge severance package. And he says, look, you sign these forms that say that this is all your fault. You accept full legal liability. And then we'll give you a bunch of money. And Derek's like, no, because I had nothing to do with this. I wasn't even on that case. You can't screw me like this. And they're like, look, either you sign the severance, either you sign the papers and you get the money and you leave, or we'll just fire you regularly and we'll still blame you for everything that happened. Because literally Kara shows him as they are sitting there how she can easily fabricate documents to make it seem like he worked on the case that flopped. So everything is against this man at this point. And he just can't accept it. He just can't accept the fact that they are about to throw him out and put him in a position where he could be sued by the client that has millions and millions of dollars. Like, it doesn't matter how much money they give you in severance. If you accept legal liability for something you didn't do, you could be sued for all the money they just gave you and more. And he has a sense of, morals, and so he refuses to do it. As all of this stuff is happening, you start getting little glimpses of the fact that that virus is in the water, and it is, being spread throughout the air, and people are getting sick and their eyes are starting to turn red, and things are just slowly kind of building up as he goes through all of this. And so as he's being escorted out, the building goes on lockdown because I'm assuming this is CDC. CDC shows up and they say the building's under lockdown. You guys have been infected and we cannot let you out until 8 hours have passed, in which the infection will be neutralized. And they tell this to the CEO. He had no idea that they even had sensors in the buildings, but thank goodness they did, because or else these people would have gone out and infected everybody else. But the building's under complete lockdown, which means Derek can't be escorted out. So he tries to go up to the top, tippity top floor where the CEO is hanging out with his board of directors. But in order to get up to those higher level floors, you have to have a special key card and a special code. So instead of him being sent up, he gets sent down where the CEO has his goons basically beat the crap out of him. Now, I thought it was interesting that this seems like something that they do regardless of the fact that the virus was like overtaking people. Like, the CEO is obviously shown to have a cocaine problem. And so he just has people who beat up people. And it really shows, like, when you have that level of wealth, you feel like you're above the law. Like, the fact that he was mad that the CDC implanted sensors in the building to be able to detect the presence of this virus that could be deadly depending on what it makes people do. He was more upset that they did it without his permission than he was about the fact that it's literally something that is going to help save the lives of a bunch of people. He was also more upset about the fact that they couldn't just send someone in with a gun to kill Derek or arrest him or whatever, because they're like, we can't let someone go in there with an armed weapon and everybody's running around engaging in violent acts, whatever their darkest impulses are. So he literally is in a position where he does not have the power anymore. He is trapped up there with everybody else, like a normal person, minus the fact that he's on a secret top floor that can only be accessed with special clearance. So Derek ends up in the basement where he's getting beat up and worked over. And also in the basement is, what's her name again? Melanie, because she got locked down there after causing a ruckus. And so they're both trapped down there together. Now, Derek and Melanie, even though they hate each other, like literally spitting on each other when they see each other, even though they hate each other, they decide to work together to get out of there. Whole goal for Derek, is that he needs to get up to that very tip tops of the tower to talk to the CEO and the board of directors to argue for his job back. Now, they've already all voted to scapegoat him, but he's like, I need to get my job back. And he also tells Melanie, look, if we get your documents signed by, the high up people, you can also get what you want. So we need to work together. They work their way up through the people who have the various levels of security. They go after the chief human resource officer, which again, this guy's been established as somebody that you hate and you want to see taken down. So it is satisfying when they finally take him down and get his key card. They get up to the level where Kara is. You get enough time with Kara, with and without Derek in the picture, to understand that she is somebody who you want to see taken down. So it is very satisfying when her own boss, the guy who promised her to be partner and promised to give her all of this like special treatment or whatever within the company and give her these higher positions in the company, just uses her Just like he just uses everybody else below her, because at the end of the day, no matter how cool she thinks she is, that she has the ear of the CEO and can get him to side with her on things, she's still not on that top floor. She's not on that top floor. She's on the floor underneath that. So even she needs special security clearance to go up to see the CEO. So seeing her, one, realize that she's screwed, but two, the fact that she was willing to do all of this to everybody else only to realize that she still ain't got the position that she needs is a mirror to kind of what Derek is going through as well, where he needed to sacrifice his morals and his values in order to get ahead. Same thing that Kara did. But you want to see Kara be taken down. And you watch her come undone as the virus infects her. But as they're going up and up and they're going through all these different people, you get to see a lot of the chaos and the carnage that happens as a result of everybody becoming infected. And it is good. Like, it's them pulling out all types of office machinery, office supplies, and using it to attack each other. Or some people just kind of hanging out, laughing at it, whatever everybody else is going through. And I feel like they put a lot of good attention to detail in the background so that even though we're following Derek and Melanie, we still see like people having sex in the background, people fighting in the background, people killing each other in the background, people like losing their minds in the background. I thought that was good. Now, is it was the acting of all those background people really good? Not really, but it was still a fun time. And as they're going through killing people, Derek and Melanie start, bonding with each other and everything like that. But after they take out Kara, they realize that Kara's key card was microwaved and burnt because her assistant was promised partner if she betrayed Kara. And so even though Kara's dead, they don't have a way to get to the top floor. And so Derek has this emotional moment because the only other person that he had that was a friend at the company got accidentally killed by one of the CEO's goons who were attacking them. And he, remarked, and it told you earlier when that man was introduced that he had children. He had kids. So Derek got emotional and he really felt for that. And you felt the emotion that Steven Yeun was putting into this character. And so they send a video of the CEO peeing on his corpse and laughing at Derek, which causes him to become emotional and cry. And him and Melanie have sex because that just happens. But then they figure out another way to get upstairs. They have to get one of the people on that top floor to come down to their floor so that they can get their key card. So they connect with the IT guy who hates this lady. Her name's Irene Smythe. And they mess up all of her files and steal all her files and say, hey, if you don't come down, you're never going to get any of the stuff on your computer back. And so she agrees to come down. She thinks that she has the upper hand, that she's going to be able to shoot them, but they already knew that she was going to do that anyway. So they get the upper hand. They fight it out. Irene agrees to give Derek the card if he lets her kill Melanie. So he does his little fake out where he like knocks Melanie out and ties her up, and she's thinking that he's betrayed her. And he leaves to go get on the elevator and to get up to the second floor. But it's revealed that he made sure that Melanie would be able to get out of her restraints really easily. So she goes at it with Irene and ends up killing her. Derek finally gets to the top floor where he gets to confront the CEO himself. But in true CEO fashion, now that he's tried everything possible to get rid of Derek, he's tried to get the CDC to kill him. He's tried to get his goons to kill him. He's offered all types of incentives to other people to kill him, but Derek still made it up to the top. So now he does what they do, and he says, I'll offer you a partnership. So he literally walks in the room, Derek's covered in blood, and everybody's like clapping, like, congratulations, you're a partner now, just sign these documents. And Derek says, no, because you screwed me over, so F you. They get into a big fight, and then Derek ends up killing the CEO by throwing him over the railing, and he falls to his death. The people vote him in as the new CEO, and he does it for like 2 seconds, long enough to sign off on Melanie's papers to give her what she needs and free her of her loan debt so she can keep her house. And then he quits, and he goes on to live his life outside of the office, outside of the rat race, making art with his new girlfriend. And that's the end of it. Now, will I say that it was a perfect movie? No. But it was better than Belko Experiment. Like, Derek Cho is a way better, like, character than Mike Milch. You know what I mean? Like, and like Mike, like the main character of Belko Experiment, Mike Milch, was the most basic everyman. We just need a white guy. Anybody will do for this person type of role. And I did not feel like that with the writing in Mayhem. I felt like the main character, especially Derek Cho's character, was done really, really well. I felt like his narration, his exposition was very helpful in the world building. And I felt like I could tell that Steven was having a good time doing this role. I could tell that he was enjoying what he was doing. It was a fun movie. Belko Experiment was just me waiting to see if something interesting was going to happen. And it never did. But with this one, it was like, okay, this is what I'm expecting. Everybody is releasing all of the pent up rage and anger that they have felt for working for this corrupt corporation that doesn't care about them at all and sucks the life out of them and tells them that the only way for you to make it to the top is to step on the people around you and throw them under the bus, and then you will be rewarded after you've compromised all your morals and values. It felt more realistic. Some of the things that people did and said when was kind of a little off, but also the fact that you set it up as they have all been infected with this virus that makes them act crazy, it excuses a lot of that. So the areas where it wasn't that strong of acting, it was just like, look, they're infected with a virus that makes them act out on their darkest impulses. So I was not mad about it at all. And I need better numbers, because according to Wikipedia, it cost them $2.5 million to make this movie, and they made $17,000 back. And I'm just having a really hard time with those numbers. If y'all know in the comments if those numbers are real or not, let me know, because I didn't think it was that bad. You know, I think Samara Weaving could have been a little bit better. I don't think her character was developed enough. You know, I think Derek Cho was developed very well, but I don't think Melanie's character was developed enough for me to care about her that much. I could tell she was having fun in the role, you know, and I saw her in Ready or Not, and so I could tell that she's having fun in the role, but I would have liked some more for her to be the second main character. I would have liked a little bit more of build up and like background on her, instead of like the moment that they have where they're like connecting, they're talking about their favorite bands and stuff, which is fine. But I think it would have been good to have had a moment where she talked about her full situation and why she was so desperate and why she had come there in the first place and what she was going through. I think that would have made me a bit more invested in her and what she had going on. But she kind of seemed more like she was along for the ride. And for a character who's on all of the promotional posters alongside Steven Yeun, I think that she should have been developed more. But everybody else, I feel like they did a good job of making me root for Derek. They did a good job of making me hate the HR guy. They did a good job of making me hate Kara, whatever Kara's job was. I don't even fully know what her job was. It seemed like one of them jobs that they just kind of give you in the corporate world. If you do enough things for the CEO, they just give you a job. Like, stuff like that happens all the time. You know, but seeing how the board of directors reacted to the fact that the CEO was like constantly doing cocaine and drinking, and losing his mind while they're all just kind of sitting there watching. They know what this man is like. They know what he's like. And when it was time to, you know, decide if he's going to live or die, they were like, yeah, get rid of him. We don't care. Because again, none of those people were loyal to each other. All they cared about was money. And so I think that all of that was done well. And I think that their response to Derek attacking the CEO and killing him also made sense, because they're just like, yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter who the CEO is as long as we get paid. You know what I mean? So I thought that it was done very well. I liked the characters that I met. I liked the IT guy. I liked that they, called out like the HR people, the accounting people. I liked the CEO was just completely unhinged the whole time, which makes sense to me. I mean, I've never been a CEO, but it makes sense. It seems right. Like, what else are they doing in situations like this other than hiding out and letting everybody else attack and kill each other? The only thing that would have made it better would have been if the rest of the board of directors kind of lost their shit too, because they were all very, very calm, drinking champagne and all fancy. And I feel like with the virus in them, I feel like I should have seen a little bit more of them turning on each other as well. Because let's be real, everybody in that room, like, they did not like each other. They never do. It's not a thing of like we're all friends and we work together and we have each other's back. Just like they all turned on the CEO Towers, they could all turn on each other as well. And I think it would have been cool to see them do more than just kind of sit there quietly while other things happen. It would have been cool to see them turn on each other and the different, like, the rage and that they have and the dislike that they would have for other people in the board of directors. I feel like that should have came out. I feel like there should have been a couple people who were like mad at the CEO and thought he was crazy and attacked him. There could have been a little bit more mayhem up there versus them all kind of sitting there watching the CEO lose his shit, and just kind of waiting for Derek to make it up there to kill all of them. But outside of that, I thought that it was a really good movie. And maybe I'm biased having watched this after watching Belko Experiment, but I just thought that it was better. But that's all I want to talk about for today. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Mayhem, what you think about Stephen Yeun's character and Samara Weaving's character and their acting and other movies that you've seen them in. I'm just very much interested now in seeing more things with Stephen Yeun, Ali Wong, and Michelle Yeoh too. Like, I've been seeing her and stuff and more stuff lately. I know she's been around for a long time, but the few things that I have just come across with her in it, she's been really, really good. So let me know if you guys have any recommendations for other movies that I should watch. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.